Welcome to the 2021 Lane Flicks October Horror Fest.
In the vein of Mama, or some would say Oculus, we have a film today by director David F. Sandberg from 2016. It's Lights Out. This is a movie I've enjoyed ever since I watched it. This most recent time, I started to see the flaws a little bit more. But it was more of a quaint horror movie. It was, like I said, like Mama. I liked that it was kind of based on a family, and then from there is where the drama came, and then because of the drama you felt horror. It's really what Hereditary did, but like on the best possible level. So I think that's why everybody kind of flipped about Hereditary. It was a subject that people enjoy in horror, but it was done like an old classical horror movie. Lights Out is a little bit more subtle than your average jump scary horror movie. It has an interesting premise to it. I'm not going to get into spoilers. I'm going to try to avoid that. If I do say minor spoilers, I'm sorry, so I'll put a spoiler alert just in case, but I try to stay away from spoilers. So this film stars Tessa Palmer, who is an actress we've seen in a lot of stuff. I think most people probably know her from a movie called Warm Bodies, but she's been in quite a few things. She's a good actress, she's solid. I don't know why she's not in more stuff. We open with some very moody piano music, and then the opening shot is super interesting. It's actually coming from inside of a street light. I thought that was an interesting way to start it because the whole movie is about lights. Basically, we establish our family of characters. That's like the main characters, or a few of them. And we're at the dad's job with him, and we're kind of just overseeing what he's doing. It looks like he's managing a warehouse. And then we get an employee who, if I'm not mistaken, that actress is the one who was in the original like short film of Lights Out. And she's also done I think that may be David F. Sandberg's wife, but she's the one who's in a ton of his YouTube videos, so cool little cameo there from the original actress. Yeah, and then we get our first little exhibition of the monster, and we kind of see an outline of her. We don't see the whole monster here, but we get kind of the idea of it and what it's doing. It can basically only travel in shadow, or like stand in shadow. If the light is on, it can't go in anywhere the light is shining on the ground or anywhere. So it's just interesting how, but it can also control electricity, which makes it a little muddled because it's like, okay, well then why doesn't it just shut off all the lights all the time? You know? The dad, who's managing the warehouse, he's starting to try to escape from the monster, and then he ends up just getting mangled up into this mess, and like they don't really show it in that great of detail. It's a pretty far away shot, but it's pretty creepy, and the sound effects too, the sound design in this is really solid. So yeah. Then we get a really kind of cutesy intro to our protagonist and her whole situation. She has kind of a douchey boyfriend that she always says is not her boyfriend. His name's Brett. And then Rebecca is her name, and her brother seem to be on their own, kind of doing their own thing. So the little boy who was talking to the dad at the beginning is the little brother of Rebecca. And I think he's actually the father of the boy, but the sister, Rebecca, the main character, she has a different father, so they're half siblings. And then the brother is at school, and it's really funny here. The little brother asks, because he's really nervous about what's going on with his mom, if he can stay over at his sister's house. And we've already set up the sister doesn't like the boyfriend staying overnight, so the boyfriend's like, good luck with that, dude. I thought that was funny. It's kind of a dumb joke, but and after getting the brother to her house, Rebecca explains to the little brother that Diana, this woman that their mom keeps talking to, It's just a bad dream. She's not real. It's someone that their family kind of manifested, but she's trying to get them to rationalize the situation. They don't go to Rebecca's house. They go to the mom's house. But once they're at the mom's house, Rebecca and her mother kind of start arguing about the mom going off her meds. This is kind of a big deal. If you've ever known someone that needs to take medication and doesn't, like, I think everybody can kind of get the idea. It's usually not good. It's a pretty bad situation. Rebecca and Brett end up taking the kid to their house, or to Rebecca's house, and this is where you kind of see, like, Rebecca really feels like something's wrong. But then we get an interesting part where they get back to Rebecca's apartment, and Brett suggests to her that she may be doing it just to hurt her mom. And I didn't even think of that, but then it was an interesting, I was like, oh, that kind of recontextualizes everything, because that would put a whole new spin on it. I thought it was more just like a loving older sibling thing, but no. So then Rebecca gets upset with him, tells him to leave, and then she sees Diane for the first time since having those nightmares since she was a kid, and then forgetting about it, right in like the doorway of her bedroom, and it's pretty unsettling. It's a good first like appearance to the protagonist. Then we get a lady from the CPS. She comes and takes Martin away and tells Rebecca she's not responsible enough to take care of a child yet. Then Rebecca kind of flashes back to the first time she remembers seeing Diana, and she's drawing when she's a very little girl, younger than Martin, her younger brother, is. I think it's a really clever bit. It's one of the most clever things in the movie, where the monster's taken the coloring book into the closet, and it's, you know, in shadow. The little girl runs over and turns the light onto the closet, young Rebecca. The light comes on, the coloring book just falls to the ground because the monster, Diana can't materialize in light. They try to explain it with a skin disease, and that part is very weak. It's one of the weakest parts of the movie. But it's an interesting idea, and the fact that she was holding the coloring book and it just falls straight to the ground, I think that's a pretty cool idea. The fact that she's holding the coloring book in the closet, and then because she disappears, it drops straight to the ground. I just thought that was clever. And then Rebecca, she now realizes that she has to get Martin, her younger brother, away from her mom, because she's back in this situation with this Diana character. She and Brett go back to the mom's house. And like I said, this is my big problem with this movie. They try to like scientifically explain the Diana situation. It gets very muddled, and it's not super well explained at all. They just kind of say that she has a skin disease and that they gave her electroshock therapy. So it's like, okay, you've gone down this road, you want to scientifically explain it, but you didn't scientifically explain it. You just gave us a vague explanation and no reason as to why this is actually happening to this woman. So that part of the movie, watching it again, I was like, okay, everything else is good. I like the atmosphere, I like the characters, and the actors. All the actors are good. Maria Bello plays the mother. She's great in everything. She plays a distraught mom in Prisoners too. That's one of my favorite movies, one of my favorite crime films ever. Rebecca goes to find her brother in her mom's house, and then she gets to her brother's room, Martin's room, and she finds her old drawing that Diana had scratched on in her coloring book from her first encounter with Diana. Diana grabs Rebecca in the room, and it's actually pretty creepy. And then Brett comes and saves her. He opens the door and she like disappears. But that whole sequence was pretty creepy. The mom and son are downstairs watching TV together, and this scene is really creepy because at first you just like, oh, this is nice, this is sweet. Like they're finally sitting down watching TV, having a little like personal moment, and no. Right out of frame is Diana just like lurking right behind the couch, and it's really creepy because you think it's this kind of not necessarily innocent, but like a more innocent encounter or interaction between a mom and her son, And then it's like, nope, it's this monster like orchestrating a scene to make her feel better, you know. This is another similarity to Mama, because in Mama, one of the sisters accepted Mama for, you know, who and what she was. And in this regard, it's Diana being accepted by the mom. I can't remember the mom's name. But the two of them were like childhood friends, so she's always been friends with her up until she passed. The Diana we're seeing, that's what I mean, is it's not like it's not super well explained if it's like a ghost or if it's her coming back from the dead or if it's her spirit, like what it is. Just don't let us know anything about the background of the monster, and then it would be better, you know? Because then we would just all theorize as to what happened with her, like how she became like that. But they go down the scientific road for like a quarter mile, and then they're like, okay, we're done. Like, so that's what I mean. You gotta pick one or the other. I found a really interesting emotional similarity to Mama, because it's this idea of acceptance for comfort, you know? Rebecca pretty much explains to her little brother Martin what's happened and what's going on with the monster. This is actually a lot like Mama right here. We, as she's explaining it, we see a couple more flashes of the personal records about Diana, and we see a lot of that in like a court scene and all kinds of other stuff in Mama. So, two very interesting and similar horror movies. I've done Mama already, so you can go check out that review. But Mama's a little bit more special to me because it's the one that got me into horror. This movie's really only special to me because I enjoy watching it with my sister. We watched it one time, I think like a year or so ago, and we both just really liked it. We were like, oh, it's a clever little, like, interesting horror movie, you know? But we bonded over it, so I thought that was really cool. And that's pretty much why this movie's special to me. So then Rebecca and Brett are met by Martin at the door, where he asks them to come talk to his mom again. And then they go and eat pizza with the mom, and they kind of ask her about Diana and the whole situation as to what's going on. And they end up staying over because they go to do the same thing. They're going to take Martin and have him stay with Rebecca for a little while. And he just stops and says, I can't leave my mom. Like, I know it's scary. I know, like, I'm scared too, but I just can't leave her. That's one of the deepest moments in the movie, because you're like, wow, this kid's really feeling for his mom right now, and that's good. I mean, it's a sweet, like, compassionate thing. Brett ends up being pretty cool, and he has a little moment with Rebecca where he's like, hey, look, I don't think you're crazy. Like, I know you people think that. You know, you think everybody thinks you're crazy. I don't think you're crazy. And there was just a respectful moment between the two characters. Rebecca goes upstairs and starts talking to her mom, and she pretty much just brings up the subject of her dad leaving when she was younger. The mom slips Rebecca a note after, like, saying I love you and them hugging, and it says I need help. So it's like she is really in deep with this monster. Like, she knows everything she's gonna say. She's listening to everything she's doing. She's watching her. So Diana's not just a brutal monster. Like, she's very methodical, and she's keeping track of what's going on. I really like the dialogue when the various characters are talking to Martin. I think that's really well written. It's realistic because everything's kind of simplified into a black and white way of saying things to him. And then they call him, like, Bud. They're like, hey, Bud. Okay, Bud. Okay, Bud. Okay, Bud. It's exactly how people talk to children. Up until, you know, their voice starts getting deeper, they look more adult. You're a kid up to a certain point, so everybody kind of talks to you the same way for a long time. It's annoying when you're a kid, but it's realistic to how people are. And then, yeah, one of the, like, only things which I didn't think of until they had it, but one of the only things I could think of after I saw it is the crank flashlight. That's pretty much the only thing that would work against Diana, because it's not, like, central power based. It's not solar based. Like, you don't have to be outside or, like, whatever. I just thought it was pretty cool. Like, you can just sit there and crank it and you'll always have light, you know, regardless of what she does. So Diana traps Rebecca and Martin down in the cellar of the mom's house, and Brett wakes up and comes to try to save them. And then we just kind of see him get scared by Diana, and then he runs out of the house. And then they cut to Rebecca and Martin in the cellar again, and you just hear a car start and drive away. And Martin's like, "What the heck, man? Like, is he leaving us?" And Rebecca's like, "No, he would never do that." Da, da, da. So you could see Rebecca has some doubt herself as to why Brett is leaving, but she still, I think, believes in her heart that he's going to come back or he's going to get help. But the kid is like furious. He's like, "What is he doing? Like, he's, we're screwed." So then the mom starts looking around the house for Rebecca and Martin, the siblings. She tells Diana that she needs the mom, not that the mom needs Diana. And then she goes to take her meds, and Diana smacks them out of her hand. And that's the other thing is like, okay, so this creature, Diana, is tied to her psychology. It's not just like a physical manifestation. That's what I mean. They keep like adding little things. It's like, what is that? Well, what is that? What does that mean? Then looking further into the cellar, the siblings find a black light, and then Rebecca goes to take inventory. She's going to figure out what kind of weapons or like defense they have. After searching some more, Rebecca finds some words and short sentences scribed onto the wall in blood or some kind of bodily fluid because it's coming up on the black light. It says things like "just like in the hospital" and "trapped down here in the dark." It's interesting how Diana doesn't react to the UV black light. She does react to like flashlights and stuff, and obviously the sun and like room lights, but she doesn't react at all to the black light. So it's something to do with something not in a black light but in your average light. So then we see Brett come back with the cops. So you're like, okay, thank God he's actually helping. He didn't just like wuss out on them. And then he tries to tell the cops they need flashlights, and they're like, "Shut up, kid, get back in your car. Like, whatever, we're here now, let us do our job." The first cop that enters the house is a male cop, and he gets killed like almost immediately. It's a really cool effect though, where he tries to shoot her with a shotgun, and every time he shoots, the gun makes a light of the muzzle flash, and that makes her disappear momentarily up until she pops right back up, and then he tries to shoot her again, and it just keeps repeating until he's out of shells. I think this is pretty clever. I didn't think about it until it happened, but pretty much the way it ends, I'm going to spoil this. This is going to be a big spoiler. The mom decides that the only way to get rid of Diana completely is to kill herself, because Diana, like I said, I guess she's a psychological manifestation. The mom shoots herself, and then Diana just disappears. But then Rebecca is obviously heartbroken. She's crying. It's probably some of the best like movie crying you're gonna see in a horror movie. Most of the time it's pretty cheesy, but she did a really good job in this. And we get the really like nice and heartwarming conclusion with Brett, Rebecca, and Martin. And yeah, like ultimately it's an average creepy, spooky movie. It's a cool, that's why I did it for Halloween. It's a cool like fall spooky movie. David F. Sandberg directed it. It's I think I said this before, but it's the guy that did like Shazam and Annabelle 2. So really great director. He's got like varied film quality, but if you check out his YouTube, I think his name's like Pony Smasher. He has like tons of stuff up on YouTube. I think he's still making short films and stuff with his wife, which is what this was originally based on, a lot like Mama as well. I really appreciate you guys watching, and yeah, just seeing what we think of these movies. And if you guys have any thoughts, like always, please comment and let us know what you think. And yeah, please share this video with anyone that may be on the fence about watching Lights Out or on the fence about horror in general. We'll be back soon with, we're going to be doing The Exorcist next. So that's a classic. That's something that kind of just came up out of nowhere. It's a little bit of a surprise movie, but that's our next feature. So, and Tommy will be coming back for that. So we'll be doing a 2-person review for The Exorcist next. So stay tuned, guys, and like I said, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you soon.